Hi everyone, good evening. Hi, good evening everyone. Is my audio and video okay? Is my audio and video okay? Can anybody confirm me? Can anyone confirm me? Yes? Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Abhishek. Okay. So today we are going to create a daily planner app, right? A planner or a scheduler app is one of the toughest thing to crack in software development, right? So there are some constraints. First of all, this is just for you. It is your personal daily planner, and it will basically send you notifications on your current task. Okay, so you will basically tell him what is your today's plan, and it will give you notifications of what to work on and whether you completed that task or not. Okay, so it is mostly a checklist or a to-do list. Okay, we have some time constraints. It will work from 9 a.m. to maybe say 8 p.m., whatever works for you. Okay. This is only for you, remember that. So we won't be having any kind of authentication or anything in this, right? So how it will work is, usual, how it will work is you give the server your checklist or to-do list for today. For example, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. you are going for gym. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. you would be on break. From 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. you would be working for college. From 12 to 1 you are again in college, etc., 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 till 8 p.m. Okay. To simplify this, we are not going to deal with times. Basically, you will have an array with strings. Okay, where a break would represent an empty string, things like this. So, for the first index, what does that mean? It means 9 to 10 a.m. For the second index, it means 10 to 11 a.m. For the third index, it means 11 to 12, and so on. Okay. So, if current time is 10 a.m., then you would be uh, ending your zeroth index and and first index start. That is true. If the current time is 10 a.m., that means you are finishing up gym and you are starting your break. That is true or not? If I want a corresponding index in the array for any specified time, if I want to corresponding index in the array for any specified time, I would subtract it from 9 because we are taking 9 as a starting time. Are you guys following? So it would give me 1. That means I'm starting the first index and I'm ending the zeroth index. Understood this? There is a GitHub link in the description, uh, Latha Girish, right? So basically, that would be a schedule. You will have schedule as an array of strings. Okay. Now, once you get the schedule, what I want to do is at the starting of anything, I would ask whether you finished the last job and it's time to start the next job or task. Okay. In the middle, I want to send a motivational quote to keep you working and to make you motivated. And at the end, I will say whether the task is finished or not. Right? The end and the start is basically the same. This should be the ending, and in the start, that is at 9 a.m. I want to send it's time to work on the first task. Understood the scope? Understood the scope? Basically, you will get a schedule and you will uh, send notifications on the start and at the middle, right? When I'm saying I will be sending some notifications, I'm saying that in a repeated task, right? When there is a repeated task at an interval, what do we use? We use node cron or cron job, whatever you guys prefer, right? Whenever I say that we have some repeated task at some specific time interval, I am saying that you are going to use node cron or any cron job. Okay. For today's homework or for today's THA, I am going to write all the logic, right? You have to implement web push notification on your own. Okay. This would be your homework or your THA for today. Right? Have you heard about web push notification? Even now in browsers, you see a small toast on the top or on the bottom right nowadays, right? A toast notification that comes, that is a web push notification. Okay? It is a very straightforward thing, so I'm leaving it to you guys. Right? Okay. Let's get coding. Give me a second. Right. So for today's task, I have forget about Axios, Express, Node-Cron, and Redis. Okay. In place of MongoDB, the schedule that we have created, we are going to store it in Redis. Acha, what is Redis? Let's talk about Redis a little bit. Redis. We had talked about Redis in some of our previous class, right? Do you guys remember? Redis is basically a temporary storage on your server. Okay. It mostly stores your data in RAM for fastest accessing. reading files inside RAM is very, very fast. Okay. Then reading from your SSD or HHD, you can store large amount of data in SSD or HHD, but if you want things to be very, very fast, then you use Redis. Okay. Redis has some temporary storage which stores it in RAM, right? You need to install Redis. Okay, Redis has its own server. Redis, just like MongoDB, you need to connect to Redis. Okay. Then there are majorly two functions that Redis provide, a get and a set. Okay. Just like if you guys have used local storage or session storage, they also provide a get and set method. It is very, very similar to that. Okay. In set method, first of all, you need to write a key as a string. Okay. Then a string of whatever data you want to store. Remember, Redis only stores a string. Okay. So if you are trying to store some object or array, you have to use JSON.stringify before saving it to Redis. And in the get method, you only need to provide the key and you will get the stored string from Redis. Right? First of all, you need to pass the connect method. Then you have two functions, get and set. So you can use those. Right? The set stores the data from a key inside your RAM and gets the data from RAM. Okay. Remember, we use Redis for a very small use case because Redis stores the data in RAM, right? But we use it in such place where the retrieval of the data needs to be very, very fast, right? Redis also have a pub sub method. This I'm going to show you in theory only. This will not be covered in today's class, but I wanted to touch this feature also of Redis, right? Just like we use sockets, right? Just like we use socket, it is a two-way communication. In case of Redis, you have a publisher and you have a subscriber, right? Just like socket has dot emit and dot on. In case of uh, in case of Redis, your dot emit is equal to publisher pub, right? In case of on, you have sub, right? Publisher publishes something that the subscriber receives, right? But the advantage of Redis over PubSub is, first of all, your Redis is one way, right? Publisher sends some data to subscribers and that's it. Subscriber cannot send the data back to publisher. Okay? And it is also very fast. Not as fast as sockets, but relatively fast. Okay? And sockets sometimes use too much of your CPU. So in place of socket, sometimes we use PubSub where we have all the client data on the server and we know exactly who to send what. Okay. So publisher PubSub is a different way of sockets. And with Redis, you have something called streams. So in sockets, we were sending the whole JSON object back and forth. In case of Redis, you have something called streams where it sends small bits of data between publisher and subscriber. Okay, so PubSub is also a very good concept or very good implementation of Redis. Do have a look. You don't need to go too deep inside PubSub. but you just need to aware that there is some pub sub configuration that Redis provides. Understood? Can we move to code now? Right. Let's create our index.js file. Let's stop it over here. Right. In index.js, first we need an Express server. Okay. We can use logger from Morgan. We have already discussed about it. Right. Let's have our app as Express function call. Okay. Let's have our port as 1338. Let's use our middlewares express.json. Okay. And for logger, logger uh, logger dep. Okay. Then app.listen to the port and say the server is running. Right. Now let's connect our Redis inside config. We need connect redis.js, right? Inside this, we simply require Redis. We have Redis client equal to Redis dot create client. Okay. Again, require a function, call its method, pass in the options. The default host of Redis is your local host or 127.0.0.1. This is called localhost. The port of Redis is 6379. Okay, you have to install Redis in your system. And to have the previous versions of Redis, if I installed some previous version, then I need to do this legacy mode as true so that it is compatible with previous versions and do Redis client dot connect. Export this or let's connect Redis client after the server is running. Require your Redis client from config, connect Redis and connect it over here. Redis client dot connect. Right? This returns a promise, so I can use dot then and dot catch. And on dot catch, we will get an error. Let's simply console dot error e. Right? We have connected to Redis now. Any doubts still here? I hope there are no doubts still here. Simply we created a Redis client. Okay. Either we can connect it from here only, or we can connect it over there. And simply require that file over here. I hope there are no doubts. Or if you do not want all this, simply have a variable over here and pass in the Redis client. Right? Let me put it over there only. I want when the server starts, then connect to Redis. Any doubts still here? To connect to Redis, we simply have Redis client.create client. This is the host port and whether you want the legacy mode to be true or false. Then in your index.js, after the server is running, you connect to the Redis client. Right? Now, let's create our routes to get our schedule. Let's have schedule routes.js. In our schedule, right? In our schedule routes, we simply will have router equal to require express dot router, and we will export this router, right? And in between them, we will have router dot post your slash. Okay. Or there is also one other way of writing it, router dot route. This is slash dot post. Okay. And inside this, we will have a controller. So let's create the controller, create schedule equal to require from dot slash. I will write it in controllers slash schedule controllers, and pass this over here. Okay, this is another way of writing your post request. Okay, now let's create the controller for schedules. Inside this, we will have schedule controller.js. In schedule controller, we will need the Redis client. From config connect Redis. Let's have a function called create schedule. This will be an async in which your request and response would come. Right? And module dot exports create schedule. Now, whenever we have async, we require try catch console.error the error and return response dot status 500 dot json message is the error. Right. Now over here we will get the schedule from request dot body. Okay. How would this schedule look like? This will be an array of strings. So gem, then break. For break, we will have an empty string. Then your college, and so on. Right? This schedule will look like this. All good here? Now we have to save this schedule in our Redis client. So we will save it in Redis client using redis client.set. First of all, in which key you want to save it. So I'm saving it in schedule. Then since it is uh, an object, I need to stringify it before saving. I save it like this, right? If everything goes as planned, I will send status as 200 dot json. Let's get it over here as well. Constant uh, saved schedule is equal to redis client dot get the schedule. Okay, and send back the saved schedule. Right. I don't think so there is any problem till here. I don't hope there is any problem till here. No. To save something in Redis, you simply have redis client.set schedule, json.stringify the schedule, and to get it, you simply have redis client.get the schedule. Right? Let's just see if this is working or not. Let us open the terminal over here. Let me just install everything. 1 second. App crashed. Okay. Already in use over here. Right. We have it running over here. Let's just call the schedule API. We saved it somewhere, right? Yes. Okay. Uh, I forgot to add that. 1 second. I forgot to add it in index.js. So let's do that. Uh, constant your routes schedule routes is equal to require dot slash route slash schedule routes, and over here app.use API v1. Whenever we get an API v1 call, we call schedule routes in that. Okay, refresh. Node.1 has restarted our server. Now let's make an API call. We are not getting anything. Okay, let me just see the documentation. Redis npm. I come to the documentation over here. I get redis.create client. Okay, on error, let us put this. We have it config Redis client. Let us try removing this as well. Await client.connect. We have already done that. Client.set. For value, we simply write await client.get and we disconnect. Okay, let's disconnect as well. Okay, let's just connect. We are connected to Redis. Okay, we have not written await over here. Right. Now we are getting the data that is stored in the Redis. See? So let me just revise Redis. To connect Redis, you simply write require Redis, then you create client. Okay. This line is mostly not required, but basically you have events. Uh, Node.js is totally event based. We have already learned that. So whenever there is an error, we have Redis client.on in which this callback gets called. You export Redis client, okay, and in your controller, whenever you want to set something, you write Redis client.set, the key and the value that you want to set. Remember, this value should always be string. Whenever you want to get something, simply write await Redis client.get the schedule. Okay. Now let's write our cron jobs. We should write it in services. Right. Before writing your cron jobs, do you guys have any doubts? Do you guys have any doubts in Redis? There are some more methods that Redis provides. If you want to connect to uh, server-based Redis, where the Redis is hosting on some other server. You simply in the create client, you pass in the URL and it is connected to that, right? There are some hset, hget. These are some JavaScript friendly commands. Okay. You can also write extension and some expiry dates, something like those. There are multiple commands. Do have a look at this. If you want to have multiple commands set up, you simply write it like this. Okay. Redis is a whole other topic in itself. But for now, simply understand .set and .get. That is the most Redis that you're going to use 80% of the time. Any doubts? I'm giving you 1 minute for any doubts in Redis. I'm coming back in a minute. I am back. No doubts. Okay, awesome. Okay, now we should write the logic which is going to run every half an hour. That will check whether you are starting something, whether you are in the middle of something, or whether you are ending something. Okay, but when we are writing a cron job, do we want the cron job to be uh, running unnecessary? Hey Tukir, do we want our cron jobs to be working unnecessary? No, right? See, the scope of the project is from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Do we want it to run uh, after 8 p.m.? That would be unnecessary, correct? That would be unnecessary. You guys agree that? So for that, in place of writing uh, your normal cron scheduler, we start and stop the scheduler for any specific time. Right. First of all, we want our scheduler to work every half an hour, right? So in constant job, we have scheduler dot schedule for every half an hour. How do we write it? 30. then 4 stars. This means that every half an hour we need to call send message function. Okay. This means every half an hour call this function. Okay. But by default, I do not want it to run. I want to start at 9 a.m. and I want to end at 8 p.m. Okay. So for that, in the last uh, options section, first of all, I want it to be scheduled as false. Okay. Do not start by default. By default, your scheduler.schedule, whenever you write, it starts, right? And it keeps on tracking whether it should call this function or not. But I do not want it to be scheduled by default. So I put scheduled as false. Okay. You can also set time zone. For us, the time zone is Asia slash Kolkata, right? You can set the time zone according to which it will start or stop the duration. Okay. Now, if I want to start something, when I want to start it, I want to start it at 9 a.m. So in minutes I put 9. In hours sorry, in minutes I put 0. In hours I put 9 and leave the rest. Okay. So it will start at 9 a.m. from next day. Inside that I just want to start this scheduler. So simply I write job dot start. Okay. And I want to stop it at 8 p.m. or 8:30. So in place of hours, I write 20, and in place of minutes, I write 30 or maybe 20. 8:20, I want this to stop listing. And over here, I write stop. So this means that whenever we have 9 a.m. on our time, we start this job, okay? And whenever we have 8:20 p.m. in the evening, we stop this job. Any doubts still here? Any doubts in this? Hey Tupir, I'm available on the Discord channel. You can connect with me on Discord. The link is in the description. Just after the class for nearly 1 hour, I come to Discord channel for solving all the doubts. Right. Um, whenever we want at 9 a.m. we want to start the job. At 8:20 I want to stop the job. Okay, and this is the job. Before, what we were doing, we were simply writing scheduler.schedule like this. So it keeps on listening whether this condition is true or not, and whether to call this function or not, right? But we want this to only work between 9 a.m. to 8:20 p.m. So you write it like this, and in your index, you simply require this service, right? We have not written controller.send message. Send message.js. Is this understood? How do we start and stop a job? Right? Okay, awesome. Now, over here we are going to require the Redis client. Now the actual logic, I'm going to write it over here. Okay. Again, if you are using async, then we should have try catch. Right. Now, what do I want to do? First of all, understand the logic. After 9 a.m., 9 a.m. is something where your first task starts. There would be nothing before that. Right? For 9 a.m., I would just send that you need to start doing this task. 9:30, I want to send a motivational quote. 10, I want to send whether this task was completed or not, and whether and this is the new task that needs to be started. Okay, so let date is equal to new date. Everything is going with minutes, right? If the minute is 30, if we have any hour with 30, I have to send a motivational code. If it is zero, right? Whether it is 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., or any a.m. or p.m., when it is zero, I need to check whether uh, it is the uh, first task of the day, but that is at 9 a.m., or any recurring task. Getting the logic? So I need to get the minutes, date dot get minutes, okay, and I need to get the hour, date dot get hours, right? I need to get the schedule. Redis client dot get schedule, okay. Since I have stored it in JSON.stringify, I have to parse it again. So let's have parsed schedule is equal to JSON.parse the schedule. Okay. Now, how would I get the index in the array? The schedule is saved as an array of strings, right? How do I get the index of the array? By subtracting it from 9, correct? R minus 9, because we are treating 9 a.m. as our starting point, and we are also assuming we are dealing with 24 hours time format. If your minutes is 30, send a quote. Okay. For any 30 minutes, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, we need to send a quote to keep on working, right? So let's console log. In place of actually sending something, I'm console logging. Keep hustling, right? Otherwise, we are dealing with something from the start or something ending, right? So if your index minus 1 is greater than equal to 0, that means we are dealing from 10 a.m. onwards. Is if your index is 0, that is for 9 a.m. Okay. Over here, we simply put console log start your day with past schedule uh, index. Okay. Start your day with this task. Otherwise, I would console log. It's time to start. Pass schedule index. This task was the last task, that is pass schedule index -1 task complete, right? Now, wherever I am putting console log, you have to implement your web push notifications, right? First of all, I want you guys to try today. Then I will teach you how to implement it. But I want you guys to face this problem and come up with the solution tomorrow. Right. So, what do we have? In every 30 minutes, we are calling this. This schedule will be on from 9 a.m. and will stop at 8:20 p.m. Right? Every 30 minutes, this function will get called. We need to module.export. Right. This function will get called. What is this doing? This is first checking what is the time right now. Right? This is just checking what is the time right now and getting the hours in minutes. Then it is fetching the schedule from whatever we have set in schedule, parsing it, checking if the minute is 30. So we will keep hustling. Otherwise, if it is the first event, then we will say start your day with this event. Otherwise, it's time to start this event. Was the last event task completed? Okay. To check this, let us run in place of every 30 minutes, let us run every minute, and let us also run this every minute. Okay, just for checking. We have it running. Let's send this. This was called. Okay, it will start your schedule. Let us put some more console logs over here just to check if everything is working fine or not. We have this past schedule. Let us see if we are getting this or not. We have to wait for 1 minute. If you want to run it every second, yes. We have this and we have our message. It's time to start this task. Was this task completed or not? Right? Uh, this logic could be troublesome right now because we are debugging it at every second, every minute. So it may cause some issue, but we know at least that this logic is working fine. Right? Any doubts? From this class, I wanted to teach you two things. One is the start and stop of scheduler, and the other one is Redis get inset method. Is this all understood? Do you guys have any doubts? Just go in the link in the description, uh, Tokir. I will find you there. Right. There are two links in the description for all of you. One is Further Read. That is a system design of multiple user uh, scheduling system, right? That is taking it on a different level. If you guys want to read that, please do read. It is in Further Read key, and there is a THA resource from where you can read the web push notification and implement the web push notification over here, wherever I have put console logs. Okay, this was all for today's class. I will meet you in the Mahasabha BC. Peace.